Hello and welcome to the cert-manager dev bi-weekly meeting on the 15th of June 2023. Looks like we've just got JetStack people here today, but we've got quite a few items in the agenda. I should share my screen. Bear with me. So we're going to talk about the governance proposal. Maël is going to talk about the governance proposal. Maël is going to talk about the CNCF graduation checklist. Maël is going to talk about the DNS over HTTPS PR, and finally the annual review of the owner's file. There won't be any leftover time, I suppose. So let's get going. I'll fill in these missing fields as Maël kicks us off and introduces us to the first topic.
Thanks. First off, maybe we can choose which topic we want to talk first. The graduation thing is maybe more important than the rest. So let's go over this. Okay, so in order to get to graduation, if we target the end of 2023, we have a bunch of tasks, and the two primary tasks that we identified on, we had an impromptu meeting on the last KubeCon with Kate, I think, from Apple, and she is at the technical committee something technical organizational committee, I guess, and she is the one who knows everything about this process. So I laid out all the things that need to be done, and right now the most important items are launching the security audits and the steering committee part. So we need to figure out a way to have a bunch of end users that represent the other end users for the project, which currently doesn't exist. And it may take the form of a steering committee, and that's what I propose in the governance proposal. That's it. So for the CNCF graduation, that's it. It's heads up. I tell you that the two main steps, the two main blockers, are the security assessment, which just needs to be started, and then we wait for a month, and then we work more with Ada Systems or Ada Logics. Can't remember the name of the company. What we said earlier, and which I didn't do yet, is to do some security assessment, such as running a security linter over the code base and just proofreading our code before we do this step. I hope to do it, unless someone else can do it. I will do it next week. But if someone else can pick it up, that would be awesome. Because I'm juggling with, I have many things in my hands. Yeah, so that's it. So there is this list, which I will keep updated. And so today we focus on presenting. So I talked about the security thing. We know what's the next step. Now let's talk about the governance part. It's the next big thing. Any question on the CNCF graduation, like checklist? Maybe the dates or... Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
So if we are to have the security check or the security review, I guess like running a linter for security and so on won't take like an enormous amount of time. So I'm not sure if this has to be like creating this CNCF service desk ticket has to be blocked by that actually, right? Because when we create a ticket, it will still take a long time for them to respond and to get this conversation started.
That's very, very, very right. And actually, it won't start before we have a screening call with them, like a starting a call with them, showing them where is the project and where they should be looking at. So I do agree. Just setting up this first meeting will take time. So I think we should create the help desk tickets, as you said. And at the same time, we can do this linter, the security linter, just to check that we don't have huge and stupid mistakes. Okay. Yeah. Governance. Governance.
Do you want me to change to a different?
Yeah. So this one is it has many items, but the two items, the most important items, I will be talking about right now. So let's move back to the governance. So this is a document where I copied the link to the governance thing, governance MD file, and also the maintainers.md file, which actually I will have to split again. So this document will be in two different places because the changes for the governance MD file need to be dealt with differently from the maintainers.md files. That's why this file will be split in different files. So this file talks about the roles. You have three roles. You have the contributor. Hi, Peter. Just I was talking about the governance file that I am proposing for the CNCF graduation. So yeah, contributor. And in the contributor part, we talk about the duties and responsibilities of the contributor. Then the maintainer, the same thing. There is I added the current list of maintainers. Yeah, and it also says what are the responsibilities. Just below that, here responsibilities, and it's very common. Like it's everything here is what we do, so there is nothing new under the sun, but it is well explained what our responsibilities are. And then decision making and becoming a maintainer, I think, are new. Yeah. So decision making, this is just, well, I think it's consensus is something I wish for. So that's written here, resolved by maintainers consensus, and then vote if not possible. Becoming a maintainer, I propose that we go with what others have proposed in other projects, which is to pick up people like on an ad hoc basis. If someone has been contributing and is also expert in one of the domains of cert-manager, he can become a maintainer. The application isn't written, I think. Start by expressing interest to existing maintainers. It doesn't say what needs to happen. Maybe we should add maybe like a Slack message would be fine. Like a DM to one of the maintainers. And then the maintainers gather and answer to this application. There is no formal document to be written. It is very much ad hoc, but that's enough. It is not. The CNCF is not asking for more than this, but at least it is written that someone can become a maintainer. And obviously, if we can become a maintainer, we can also step down or be retired. So that that's the next step, stepping down. If someone cannot feel they cannot participate as much, or if we find that someone has less interest in the project, then this person can be, so they can choose to step down and become emeritus maintainer. It's a list of maintainers that have been in the past very involved, but are not actively. So it's a way of appreciating the work that has been done by all other previous people. And we can also choose to, if someone has not been active, we can also, as a group, choose to retire someone as and put them as in the emeritus thing. Obviously, it needs to be asked. We need to talk to the person beforehand. Yeah. And then the most important part is the steering committee. This doesn't exist at all currently in cert-manager. The point of this is, so first off, it's similar to Linkerd. cert-manager is mainly worked on by one vendor, Venafi, JetStack. And in order to work around this problem, the steering committee is a group of end users, that's really important, that have a stake in cert-manager. And I think we cannot be in this group because we don't have stakes in cert-manager. We don't have end user stakes. We have vendor stakes, but not end users. I'm talking about JetStack people here on the call. So that's why, yeah, so we need to find a few people. Here I said I propose 7 seats that can be voted, so that there is a voting mechanism. No, I don't think it's a voting mechanism. Yeah, we'll talk about that later in the membership part. But as the first, when we graduate, I wish we have 4 people, at least 4 people, 3 or 4, let's say. We don't have to have all the seats been taken. We just have to have some of them that represent a good amount of end users. Yeah. Sorry, the phone. Okay. And we here in the responsibilities, sorry, it's right above, before, yeah. So responsibilities is there will be decisions taken by this group. They won't have like monthly meetings, probably. It will probably be on an ad hoc basis. And so yeah, so feedback to maintainers on the feature sets, operational model, things like that. I'm not exactly what I mean by these words, so I need to work on this. Assist maintainers in prioritization. So that's that. It's basically they act as the customers for us. They are the eyes, and they make sure that the stakes of cert-manager users are represented when we make the decisions. And continuity plan and like big decisions go through them. So for example, renaming the project would probably have to be just added as the next an item to the next steering committee meeting. Okay, so membership now. Membership is, I think it's, yeah, we tell them what their responsibilities, and then we propose to them to be part of it. So that's us asking, the maintainers asking them, and they become a steering committee member for 1 year, and it can be probably like every year we have a reinstatement in accordance. So yeah, every year they can ask for staying on the steering committee member. Steering committee. Okay, now, and then the last section below is a bit stupid. It's just mentioning how the changes to the steering committee document can happen. That's why I said it should be a different document. Okay, that's a lot of talking. Tim, go ahead.
So here it says, like, must be approved by a majority of steering committee members and a majority of cert manager maintainers. Does that mean, like, I have to have majority in both or one of the two?
I would assume individually we have two. It's like here in France we have a similar approach. We have the Assembly and the Senate, and we need majority in the Assembly and then in the Senate separately. So if it passes, if both have in their own groups have majority. Ashley?
Well, I guess first question, then the second one might not be relevant, is what sort of feedback are you looking for on this? You just read through the document, basically. Like, what do you want from us now? Like,
no, it's agreement. Yeah, feedback obviously, but also agreement. So I am looking for having. I should have opened a PR, but I felt it was easier in this form.
So you're looking for feedback in this call? It depends. If it's a big topic, if it's a question, then I can answer. If it's a big thing, then we can take it offline. Okay. Well, I suppose my only comment on this, then, I guess, is that I feel like there are some fairly big requirements placed on membership of the maintainer team and the steering committee team. Like, specifically, the one that stands out to me is requiring expertise, and using the word expertise in Kubernetes or PKI or Acme or whatever for maintainers. I'm not certain that I would say that I have expertise in PKI, but I think I know enough to be able to be useful to the cert-manager project. And I might well, certainly younger Ash might well have self-selected out of the process at that point.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think expertise is not a good term. So must have domain knowledge in one of Kubernetes, PKI, or Acme. So just domain knowledge.
I wouldn't even necessarily say must have, just like nice to have. Like,
just have.
I think the problem that we have is that we're not going to get anyone doing this, and we want someone to do this. So the hurdle should be as minimal as possible, right? Similarly,
yeah, actually, you're right. You're right. Actually, I agree. Let's remove this. It's a bit stupid because we will assess this anyways. Like, we will assess if it makes sense or not for the person to become maintainer anyways. So
yeah, probably more important to me than anything is that they're a decent person, and the rest we can work out. Like, I don't really care if someone knows what a Kubernetes is.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So I'll remove this.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see Irbe. Irbe, do you want?
Is this just about cert-manager, or because at the moment the maintainers team is, I think, for the whole of the cert-manager org. So say someone was an expert in Istio and was committing to Istio CSR a lot, could they potentially become a maintainer for the whole project, or is it just for cert-manager?
A good question. I haven't thought about this. I was thinking that at least the maintainers below here or above are the cert-manager maintainers, but I haven't thought at all about the other projects because I don't know how important it is to the CNCF graduation. So do you have an idea on how to proceed with other projects under the cert-manager organization?
No, it was literally just a question because at the moment we don't have a structure to separate, and obviously, like the other projects are not graduating either, as far as I understand.
Yeah, that's true. It's only cert-manager that is made. So I will rephrase something here in this document to explain that it is only targeted to the cert-manager project, because I don't know how to deal with the rest right now.
So we'll have a separate maintainers team, basically just for the one project.
Yeah, for example, private PCA, I think it's very different. Their governance structure is a bit different. They don't have the same owners, I think. Right? I don't even know, so I would have to check. But right now, what I want to, this document only focuses on the main project and the website, the documentation and main project.
But there are also like a lot of side projects that also belong to cert-manager, right? CSI driver and so on. Those things are part of the cert-manager ecosystem, and I think also are part of the graduation.
I will check with. Okay, that's a question. Actually, it's a question. I will ask. I don't know, Amy or Kate, or I don't know. I will ask someone what they think about satellite projects.
But they're not, like, a lot of them aren't even V1. Like, okay, we already had this discussion, I think, when we were going to incubation. And didn't we decide that the other projects are not, like, would they even pass security audit, all of them, or?
I agree, Irbe. I thought it was only the cert-manager code that was being donated to the CNCF or going to graduate or whatever.
Yeah, it's just, I feel the same. But I could ask. That's actually something I don't know. So as part of this governance file, it should be clear which areas of the organization is affected by the governance file. Okay, that's a great deal of a good conversation we had. I don't know what's the next step. Yeah, the next step is to open a PR, and that's it. Open a PR and get started with the steering committee members. I do have one in mind that I already talked to. That's Florian from Volkswagen, and he would be on board. So and that would be our first one, and then we can talk later offline about the other ones.
And how are steering committee members appointed? Is that in the document?
Yeah, it is in the membership thing.
Oh, sorry.
See, it's towards, here. Yeah, it doesn't say who they are nominated, so they are chosen by the current steering committee members, also by cert-manager maintainers. So right now, that would be the cert-manager maintainers. We have to find people and nominate them. Or we announce that we're looking for steering committee members, and then we select which ones we want. But right now, what Linkerd did was to get in touch with the big users of Linkerd and ask them whether they would be happy to be on this, like involved even more and be on this steering committee. That's how they did. So I intend to do the same.
Okay. So there are 7 people in the steering committee, and right now, how many maintainers are there?
9 or 11. The list is above. I think it's 9 or 10 maybe. Maintainers is right above. 3. 9.
Okay. Everyone gets one vote to select who goes into the steering committee.
Yes. It's a vote, yeah. It's not a consensus, it's a vote.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? But don't worry, you will be able to ask other questions along the way. The graduation path is very long, so you will be able to ask questions in the PR, in the next biweekly, and in many other places. So don't worry.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
I think we're done with, yeah.
Thanks, Maël. So what have we covered? We've covered the governance proposal, the CNCF graduation checklist. Shall we then, Maël, shall we talk about the DNS over HTTPS?
Can I go over the owners thing, because it's really quick and it relates to what we just talked about?
Yep. Okay.
One
One
thing that we will instate, let's say every 1st of June, we will do a review of the owners. When I say we, I mean the maintainers. And let's. Oh, hi, Vinny. I suggest that we talk to Joachim, who has been a maintainer for the past year and a half, but hasn't been active for about 4 months, I think. And I suggest that we talk to them and ask whether they wish to stay as a maintainer, or whether it's fine to become an emeritus. So I will do this. I will ask them what they think, and we can go from there. Yeah, Tim.
So I saw that in your checklist you have this item: confirm the 2 organizations at the bi-weekly meeting on the 15th of June, which is today, right?
Yeah. Confirm what? Sorry, can you say again?
Confirm the 2 organizations. So it's under the have committers from at least 2 organizations.
Yeah, okay. So it's a different topic. That would be committers versus. So, oh, by the way, something that is in the document and is really important to us is, for us, a committer is a maintainer. It's the same thing. Some projects choose to have a difference because some maintainers they don't need to write code. They do documentation and stuff like that. So in our case, we are both. So maintainer equal committer, and committers from at least 2 organizations. I think it's fairly obvious that we do have this.
Currently, we're at 4 organizations, right?
Yeah, so it's. Yeah, I think we can click confirm, because I can add the name of the companies and we're done. Yeah, thanks. Great. That's checked.
So committer is not someone who commits to cert-manager. It's a maintainer. That's a bit confusing to me, but that's the correct language, right? Committer means someone who is a maintainer and not just someone who commits to cert-manager.
Yeah, frankly, I don't know. I wrote the definition in the governance file. You can read it if you like, but I just don't remember. It's too fuzzy. It doesn't relate to us very much. We don't have this specific. We don't have people that need to be in the admin group, in the GitHub admin group, but not in, or we don't, and it has nothing to do with the approver thing, or approver versus looks good to me. It's unrelated to that. So anyways, I think we have the 2 organizations as committers. So it's a done thing. I just had to ask. I just have to put the names of these people to confirm that they exist. Maybe in this document also, I wrote something like find a volunteer to lead this item to do the core infrastructure initiative best practices badge. Does anyone want to do this? I'm not sure how much work it is, so I cannot tell.
It's hard to find a volunteer if it's not clear how much work.
Yeah. Okay.
I've looked into this before, and I had conversations with people about it before, and I'm interested, but I don't know if I have the time to do it. But pencil me in, I guess.
Okay, but it's since it's not a priority thing, like it's not top priority right now, we can do it in September if you prefer. Like we can wait when you have more time.
I suspect it's just to get the ball rolling type thing. Like my recollection of when I looked over this was that we smashed most of the points on the list to get the badge. It's not going to be a matter of us having to change things significantly. It's just that sort of getting it certified.
We already have a scorecard, right? OpenSSF scorecard. If you go to the cert-manager repository, this was something that was requested by someone from that organization, I think. They requested to add this scorecard and GitHub action that kind of creates that scorecard. Yeah. And we have a score of 7. Not sure what that means. If that is enough to get a badge.
Okay. Back to this item. So Ash, if you like, I'll assign you to it. But since it is not a top priority, don't worry. We can. Sorry, I need to take a call. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay. Oh, no. Sorry, my wife keeps calling. Yeah, Ash, are you okay with this?
Yep, that's fine. If you need me to pick up the pace on it, let me know, I guess, if it's not urgent.
I'll try to keep track of this checklist during every biweekly. But I think this one doesn't need a lot of effort right now. And then there is another fine for volunteers for the applying to the steering committee. This is something I'm already working on. So find volunteers. I found one, and please tell me if you have other people in mind. The problem is I don't know privately where I can talk about this. Like I think we have a cert-manager maintainers Google group, so maybe I can talk there.
Can't we just not? I mean, didn't it say somewhere that we all get to nominate someone? I mean, I would nominate Marcia. Why couldn't she be on the steering committee?
Yeah, no, exactly. You can propose someone, and then we I can't remember if it's voting or something, but let's say consensus, because I can't remember what is in the governance file. But let's say if we are all okay for Marcia, let's just get her on board.
Or Code Ranger, who does answers so many questions on Slack.
Yeah, that would be great to ask them also.
But they have to be end users, right?
Yeah. But we can assess whether they are end user afterwards. Let's have a list of people, and then let's assess individually if they qualify. Thanks, Richard.
Like, is that how we do it? Like, we first ask them whether they want to become a member, and then we assess it, or do we first assess it and then ask them? Because otherwise,
I would say we can feel if it's a person that is an end user, but we cannot tell if they have stakes in cert-manager. So we have to ask them. Like we cannot know how many clusters they have, or Yeah, someone. Yeah, Eric. Yes, that's a very good pick, and that's in my list also. So Code Ranger, Eric, and
Josh Sorev, he's a
Josh
user.
Sorev. Yeah. It's also in my list. Okay, now last one. Sorry, I forgot to go over these checklists actually. So find a volunteer to do the public list of project adopters for at least the primary repository. Who wants to do this? This is great. This is awesome. So you find the logos that are using cert-manager and you put them into the adopters file. It already exists, but it's not up to date. Who wants to do this? It's awesome work. Come on. Okay, I'll find next time I'll look for someone. I will. Yeah. Yeah, Peter.
It's just creating a list in Markdown. I think that I could maybe try and help do that.
Oh, you want to do it? Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's what the hand was for.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's a file at the root of a repository, and we have to find out which end users are in the adopters. So we need to update this file. That's it's a requirement for the graduation.
Did you say there is already a file, or
isn't it? Or maybe
There's
it's
already
end
a
users
file.
or users.md maybe?
Yeah, users.
Users.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this. So maybe we need to change it a bit, or I think the CNCF graduation step requires the logos to be on the README page. So that's the only big change. Maybe. I'll leave you to it to figure it out, Peter. It's in the checklist. You'll see what to do.
Cool. Thanks.
I'll tell you anyways.
We probably also need permission from all these companies, right? If we put them,
Yeah.
we don't just put their names on here.
Yeah.
Because we know it, we also got permission to do that.
Yes, we do. That's a good point. Yeah, I forgot about this. So we do need, if we want to add new logos, we need to contact them. Again, I'll help you if you need, Peter. Okay, we're done with setting people on, like finding volunteers.
have I?
Awesome.
Shall I tick this box?
Yeah, and also the one on top. There is a find volunteer. Yeah, this one. Oh, it's you cannot check it.
No.
Okay, I'll fix that later.
Okay.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Maël. So you were distracted. You were originally talking about the maintainers file.
Yeah, I was talking about reviewing the owners file at the top of the repository. And I suggested, because Joachim hasn't been active recently, I was suggesting to ask them what they think, whether they want to stay as a maintainer and show some activity, or whether they would be okay being retired as an emeritus maintainer.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay,
You'd also in the document you'd also marked Marcher as emeritus, but
yes,
she is still here.
Yeah. So that's an excellent question. Could I also do the same for Matcha? Could I ask them whether they are okay stepping down as a maintainer?
My recollection is we already removed Matcha as a maintainer. If this is out of date, excuse me, if this is out of date, we just update the owners. But
okay.
we did have a work in progress to update all the owners' files, because universally across all of our repos they're out of date, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a mechanical task, and then ideally having automation to make sure that they don't get out of date in the future. Because all this process is good, but if it requires humans to do it, it'll fail.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm mainly interested in the root repository, the cert-manager one. But the other ones, you're right, we should find a way to not being a struggle. Tim, do you want to talk? Oh, I cannot hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, I just want to say, I think the same thing as Irbe is saying. The owner file is a bit separate from maintainers, right? I think maintainers maps to GitHub admins. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the owners files, we actually have multiple in the cert-manager as well. There's like a couple of people who are, for example, in like the Vault Issuer owners file, because they have specific knowledge, they're not maintainers.
So are you talking about the difference between being a GitHub admin or owner and being in the owners file? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, so there are three things, right? Owners file, GitHub admin, and then the name maintainer. How do these three things correlate?
I don't know. I think, Ash, you know much more than I do. Maybe.
The main thing is that there needs to be a policy about it. Like the separate owners files in cert-manager are effectively useless because the difference that they make no difference, right? Like it's not like other people actually do come in and review those bits of code. Like it's just us that do code reviews in practice. And like we've got several repos that don't have owners files at all. Like whether that links up with maintainers or whatever is a different story. But like at the end of the day, as maintainers, we ultimately have power to do whatever we like with the code, like if we so desire. So it makes sense that all of us at least are owners and reviewers of all repos. Like if we can't, I don't see why any of us would be not trusted to review a certain repo, but okay in another, if we're cert-manager maintainers, if we're admins on the GitHub org. But like how that all ties together is TBD. Like we have the cert-manager maintainers Google group, which I've been trying to say is the source of truth for who is a cert-manager maintainer. And that may be different, and we may add other people to owners, but like it's linking it all together and doing that is the tricky part, because it needs to be automated, really.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it sounds like work. Or we could do it annually. We just review everything annually and we're done.
The problem then is if someone goes rogue or does something which means that they should no longer be a maintainer, then an annual review isn't good enough, and we then don't, like there's so many places we'd have to remove them as owners and things. Like probably it's fine, but are we confident if we had to do it in a hurry that we'd be able to get it done and be happy with it?
Okay, so I think the governance file need to be precise. No, actually, it doesn't need. Sorry, so we need to settle on the relationship between owners, the people that can approve PRs, or sorry, merge PRs, and the people who can be GitHub admins.
Yeah,
and the cert-manager maintainers.
Like GCP permissions as well. It's not just that even. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to work out. If we realistically were going to have a non-Venafi maintainer of cert-manager working full time or whatever on it, then there's a lot that we need to look at, right?
Yeah. I guess I would do the work as it comes. Like when the person needs to do it, I would kick off the work to make it possible. Because it sounds like a lot of work again.
Currently, we only have one tier, right? It's either you're nothing or you're a cert-manager maintainer, but it's like nothing in between. Is that correct?
You can also be a contributor, so you're, but there is nothing that tells you that you're a contributor. You're right. There is no level. But this governance file. So I propose that this level, or how can we call it? The it's like a ladder, let's say, involvement ladder or engagement ladder, where we take people and we make them engaged by showing them like becoming members of the cert-manager project, for example. But I think we can talk about this in a different moment, because the governance is not really the same as this ladder thing. Yeah, Irbe.
I was just gonna say as a note, like, I mean, if you actually do want to get people involved, like, this isn't enough because there's like no process for people getting involved. Like, we don't have any practice where we even try to create good first issues or like, I don't know, do like public bug triage or anything like that. Like, it's quite hard for anybody to get involved. And like, I've seen people picking up good first issues and like solving one, but there isn't really any way for them to like kind of, you know, process further unless like somebody creates another good first issue, or unless they already like, you know, unless they really like run cert-manager installation and they see issues. Like, there isn't really, I think we would need to work harder on somehow like getting people involved and maybe like getting feedback from them, because like just the fact that it's possible to become a maintainer isn't going to help them to actually get involved.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Getting more involvements, engagements, getting new contributors and new maintainers. I don't have a plan for this yet, but if anyone has ideas to get there, I'll be glad to hear.
So that would be like version 2 of maintainers.md, right? Where we specify a full ladder instead of just the one maintainer tier.
It wouldn't be the governance.md file, since the governance is about the end users and the difference between maintainers and end users. I think this would be somewhere else. I don't know where, but somewhere else.
But would it be in the maintainers.md file?
Probably, yeah. That would be a good place. We can do work. In this file we can do whatever we like in the maintainers.md file. So we can talk about contributors and how they can become a maintainer, and their roles, their responsibilities, how they can become one, and so on.
How it maps to GitHub admins, how it maps to the owner files, and how it maps to GCP.
Yes, it's also the place where we can do this.
Great, let's do that.
Yeah, that would be great. Again, I don't really want to do this ladder thing before graduation, but if you are passionate about this, please come on board, help me do this, and we can do the ladder thing. I think it would be valuable just to have a membership to the cert-manager project, which that would get us to a point where we can congratulate or show people appreciation for the fact that they have made an impact on the cert-manager project, and they we reward them by showing, like, adopting them to the organization as member. Anyways, are we done with this topic?
Yes, thank you, Maël. We are almost out of time. Shall we stop there? I propose we stop there.
Oh no.
No?
Okay.
You'd like to talk about
no, it's time is up. But it's the DNS over HTTPS thing was important, but I haven't caught up on the Slack conversation that happened. But thank you, Richard, for stepping in, like talking about this. It triggered a lot of discussion from James, Monolith, and other people. Is it okay if I schedule another like ad hoc meeting just for this?
yeah, I'm okay. I'd like to join.
Thanks. That would be because yeah, we're out of time.
Okay. Any further comments? Anything anyone else would like to talk about in the last 3 minutes? And if not, I shall stop recording. Okay. Thanks everyone for your contributions. See you next time.